And a warm welcome to Inside the Bubble, our Minnesota high school hockey highlight show on KARE 11 Plus. It is week number 10 of the high school season, and we're excited to be back with you this week. Matt Harrington and Brandon Spratt. Brandon, we're back from our Warroad expedition last week, and man, another great week of hockey.
Yeah, it was a good week of hockey. The field trip was fun, but good to be back in the studio here as well. And we have Dodge County getting us started on the highlights this week.
We do indeed. Let's go out to Dodge County for the Wildcats and the New Ulm Eagles. New Ulm and Dodge County, the Wildcats coming in as the number 11 team ranked in Class A. First period here for Dodge County. Maisie Cook with a nice wrister here. Gets the assist from Molly Cook to make it a 1-0 Dodge County lead. Late in the second period now, this is Taylor Winkles getting the goal for Dodge County. That makes it 2-0. Early third period now. Wildcats not done yet. Big wrister and a snipe there from Nora Karstensen. Makes it 3-0. And Karstensen going to get another goal here to make it 4-0 in favor of Dodge County. They win this one with ease. They move to 14-4 on the season.
Big Section 6 AA battle between Blake and Edina at Braemar. This is first period. Power play for the Bears off the faceoff. Oh, that one just sneaks through the wickets from Callie Arthur, the 8th grade forward for the Blake Bears, who gets Blake on the board early. We take it late first period. Here's Hannah Halverson with a good chance. She's hooked, gets to the net. Great chance, but a good save as Janie McGaughan, the 9th grade goaltender for Blake. She had a big game. That was the first of many big saves in this one as the young Bears getting it done. This is in the early second period, though. Shorthanded, Sam Bros on the breakaway, and Uma Cornier shuts the door. Best chance for the Bears in that frame. Now it's Edina back on the attack here. Halverson, good pad save, and she's going to get another shot here that's blocked down out front as McGaughan holding strong in the second. We take it later in the second. Hornets with a good forecheck. They're going to force the turnover here, and it's Halverson. Good give and go with Whitney Horton. Oh, that was just wide. I think McGaughan maybe got a slight piece of it, but that one just missed. Now we're into the third period here. Hornets back on the power play. Not a lot of great A's for Edina in this game. This was one of them on the rush, though. Ellie Chapman up off the shoulder of McGaughan, who makes the save. And then after a quick turnover here at the blue line, same story, Lorelai Nelson down the slot, but that one's deflected up into the mesh as well. Notice that clock, 9:17 third period. Hornets still not on the scoreboard. Now it's Blake's turn for a chance about halfway through the third. Susie Higuchi pivots, and a nice save by Cornier. She had to save the follow as well and put it wide, keeping her team down just a goal. This was perhaps the best save of the night. McGaughan with Halverson crashing down the slot, makes another save. And that would be the last big chance for the Hornets in this one. Edina shut out Janie McGaughan, a 38-save shutout.
We go to Gentry Academy, Proctor Hermantown. Great battle here between AA and Class A powers. We go in the first period now, late in the period, and it's Hannah Graves who gets the power play goal, and Proctor Hermantown goes up 1-0. Look who it is, Hannah Graves again. Big rebound, and she takes advantage, puts it home. 2-0 Proctor Hermantown, but of course, the top-ranked team in AA not going to go away. Beautiful cross-ice pass, and Gentry Academy gets on the board to make it 2-1. Later now in the period, and it's going to be tipped in front perhaps by Juliana Gazdick. That makes it 2-2. We go to overtime in this one, and Proctor Hermantown will cash in out front. Reese Heitzman, and down goes number 1 in AA, Proctor Hermantown, with a massive win here, 3-2.
Hill Murray at Holy Family. And this a big game in girls AA as well. Two very strong defensive teams. No surprise, we're scoreless here in the third. This one's just going to trickle through. Ella Horning battles away and puts the puck in. Hill Murray Pioneers take the 1-goal lead. We take you to the final few seconds. Empty net for the Fire. This is Ella Housey who hits the empty net with 0.8 seconds on the clock. That was the insurance marker. They just bleed off the final 0.8. And Hill Murray gets the win at Holy Family. A big one for the Pioneers. They win 2-0. They have just 2 losses on the season.
Grand Rapids, Greenway, and Andover here. in a non-conference battle at Andover. We picked this one up in the second after no scoring in the first, and Maya Engler gets things started here for Andover to make it 1-0 in favor of the Huskies. Let's check out this play here. Berger's going to get things started. She's going to take this all the way. Top shelf laser beam right there from Ella Berger. Beautiful finish to make it 2-0. And Ella Berger's not done yet here for Andover. Take a look at this. Another wrister, very similar to that first goal for Berger. That made it 3-0. All these goals coming in the second period for the Huskies. And then here in the third, Madison Brown has an easy tap-in finish to make it 4-0 in favor of the Huskies as they would take a commanding lead in this one. But then Grand Rapids Greenway wouldn't go down without a fight. You're going to see here in the slot, Kylie DeBay, a nice turnaround wrister, beats Courtney Stagman to make it 4-1. But Andover would cruise to victory in this game, 7-2, their 16th win of the year. Big game for Ella Berger, 4 points.
Maple Grove taking on their border rivals, Osseo Park Center, on Saturday night. This is 20 seconds into the game. This is going to be a double tip toward the front, and Kelsey Olson, number 19, gets the goal just 21 seconds in. Crimson off to a great start. Later on the power play, Emily Oakland gets it on goal, and Maddie Sukup follows in for the finish. Crimson now lead by 2 goals. It was a big game for Oakland, the senior blue liner for Maple Grove. We're less than 10 minutes in here, and the Crimson are going to make it 3. Oh, that one just took a cruel deflection, I think off a defender for Osseo Park Center. Addie Sillerud will get credit for the goal, and Maple Grove leads by 3. And then nice one-time finish here. Oh, look at that. Shipley picks out the top corner. Another assist from Oakland. Emily Oakland with 3 first-period assists. Maple Grove goes on to win it 6-0. They led 4-0 after the opening frame. And that's going to do it for the girls' highlights. We'll be back with the boys in just a few moments.
Behind every world-class athlete, there's a team who takes extra care to support them. At Affinity Plus, we take extra care with all your banking goals, from checking accounts to credit cards. Our biggest victory? Helping you win in the ways that matter most. Affinity Plus.
Your college experience begins with your dream. Your time at St. Cloud State will uniquely be your own, but your journey will be guided by our community. Be you. Be bold. Be a Husky.
What if there was a place where everything was hockey?
He can skate. Here comes Steves in on goal, all alone.
In Minnesota, there is.
Scores!
And welcome back inside the bubble. Let's take a look at the boys' highlights this week, starting with an MLK Day special between Mahtomedi and Benilde St. Margaret's played on Monday afternoon. We pick it up early first period and keep an eye behind the net at BSM goaltender Brennan Chapman. Little bit of friendly fire there. They turn it over, and David Wolsfeld with the finish. Unfortunate opening goal to give up for the Red Knights, but it would not stop there. This just 41 seconds later, and it's Charlie Draghi who's going to get the goal. He gets the tip in there on the shot from the point by Tarnowski. 2-0 Zephyrs just 3 minutes in. Now, Mahtomedi on the power play later in the first period as they rush it up the ice. Keep an eye on number 9 here near side. Johnny Grove snaps it high glove. 3-0 Zephyrs in the first period. We pick it up late second. This is BSM shorthanded. Drew Stewart on the rush, and he puts that one top shelf as well. A lot of goal scorers' goals in this game between the Zephyrs and the Red Knights. We pick it up in the third period. BSM still down by 2. This is 9th grader Mason Miner, and that's a beauty of a wrister as well as he works down the slot. Now it's a 1-goal game as the Red Knights cut it to 1, but that would not last long. Another turnover there. Wolfsfeld gets his second just over a minute later. Mahtomedi restores its 2-goal lead. Teams going back and forth, though, in a bit of a helter-skelter third period. This is BSM here as they work it up the ice. Eventually, it's going to end up with Ryan Baird, trailer in the slot. He snaps that one top shelf, and BSM cuts it to 1 goal again. But they just never could quite get that tying goal. Back on the power play, here are the Zephyrs. Nice feed to Seth Nelson, who puts it home on the power play. Mahtomedi restores its 2-goal lead at 5-3. Red Knights now in the final minute. They pull the goaltender extra attacker out there. Wes Berg finds the back of the net, cuts it to 1 goal yet again for the 3rd time. However, that would be how it would end. Mahtomedi getting an empty netter as well. They win it 6-4.
East Grand Forks and Roseau for Hockey Night in Minnesota. East Grand Forks ranked number 7 in Class A. Roseau going to get the scoring started. Shorthanded Gavin Jensen. Beautiful finish there as the Rams go on top. This is the same penalty kill, and they get another goal, this time from Jake Halverson. 2 shorties for the Rams. They're up 2-0 in this one, but East Grand not going away. Still in the first. Shot from the point there gets through. Cole Bees with a nice snapper. That goes through to make it 2-1 in favor of Roseau. And then less than a minute later, it's Brock Schultz who gets East Grand all knotted up at 2 here late in the first period. Chaotic first comes to an end. We go to the second period now. Roseau on the power play. Alex Ballard with the shot from the point that gets through. Roseau back on top here, 3-2, as they continue to work here in the second. Midway through the period, Brennan Johnson with the goal. The 2-goal lead is back in favor of Roseau. But guess what? East Grand not going away here as they get this one to bounce, and the big rebound is cleared up in front by Sam Frost. That made it 4-3. Rams still leading, though, in this one. But again, East Grand the other way. And Landon Jameson, what a shot there. That goes through. It's 4-4, ladies and gentlemen, late in the second. It's Preston Lundbaum who's going to take advantage on the glove side there for the goal. An even strength tally to make it 5-4 after 2 periods. If you thought this game was done, it's not. Check this out. Late in the third, we're tied as it's Brock Schultz once again. That was the hat trick goal for Schultz to make it 5-5. Or I'm sorry, the second goal. Check out this save in overtime. Glove save and a beauty there. That keeps this game at 5-5. And then check out this game winner right there from Schultz. There's your Hattie. A comeback 3 times by East Grand Forks as the Green Wave with a statement win here. 6-5 in overtime on Hockey Night in Minnesota. Maybe the game of the year for Hockey Night in Minnesota so far, but absolutely inspired comeback. East Grand Forks with their 9th win of the season.
Providence hosting Orono, maybe a Section 2A playoff preview. We pick it up in the first period with the Lions on the attack. They'll work it down low. Eventually ends up on the tape of Sammy Lewis, who rips it into the back of the net. Lions led 1-0 after the opening frame, but any game Providence plays in, you know there's going to be goals. This one sure delivered that as Caden Efforts tips it on the back door, and the Spartans tied at 1 in the opening minute of the second frame. We send it later in the second period. Orono in the offensive zone. Again, slick passing there as they slip it to the back door, and Avery Anderson puts the Spartans up 2-1. Just a couple minutes later here, Lions looking to clear the zone, but they fail to do so. Joey Mugas goes all the way around and beats Meest over the shoulder. Orono turns it around to lead 3-1. 4 minutes later, though, Lions looking to make a comeback. They're here in transition. Sammy Lewis with the dish here across the line to Louis Wayman, and he knows what to do with it. Wayman, one of the leading scorers in the state this year, cuts Providence's deficit to a goal. But just 20 seconds later, a bit of a backbreaker here coming for the Lions as that's out front. Couple whacks at it, and Connor Lang puts the Spartans back on top by 2 goals. They led it 4-2. And then again, this is still the second period, folks. Orono would get a 5th in the frame. Brooks Fegers racing up the left wing makes it 5-2. Spartans, they score 5 goals in the second. Here's Providence in transition again into the last 90 seconds of the frame. And it's Louis Wayman who gets his second, doing his best to keep Providence in the game. 5-3 after 2 periods. Orono would add a goal in the third via the empty net and win 6-3.
Edina and Minnetonka, always appointment television when these two teams meet in the Lake Conference. Number 4 and number 5 in the first period now. And check out this play. Jack Sand with the open net. He gets the goal. Even strength tally. And the Skippers go on top 1-0 in this one as that one beats Klarkowski. Less than a minute later, or just about a minute later, Tonka not done yet. Gavin Gary, upstairs in the finish. 2-0 in favor of the Skippers. They look really strong in this one as we go now to the second period, early stages of the period. And the Skippers check out the offensive zone time here on the power play. And great puck movement here as you're going to see the backdoor feed. They'll keep it moving here and a nice tip in front, and the finish pounded home by Hagen Burrows makes it 3-0 in favor of the Skippers. And there's still plenty of hockey left to be played in this one with 15-15 to go in the second period as we will keep this one at 3-0. Great save there by Klarkowski to keep it even, or not even, but 3-0 where that score is at 3-0. Back the other way. Skippers trying to add their 4th, and they do. Beautifully done there by Gavin Gary. That was his 2nd goal of the game as the Skippers now lead this one 4-0 with 8:54 to go in period number 2. Edina, though, not going away. Look at this one. Almost goes through, but it does not as Jackson Evers can't bury it. And then here at the other end as well in the third, great save made, and Minnetonka would preserve that 4-0 lead. Great performance in net by Kaiser Nelson, and that is how this one would finish. The Skippers shut out their longtime rival Edina 4-0. A big win for Minnetonka as they will move to 14-2. Edina's 11-game unbeaten streak ends.
Moorhead visiting Hermantown on Friday night as the Hawks look to bounce back from their defeat against Warroad. We picked this one up in the first period, and that one's going to sneak through. Joe Corton gets the goal and puts Moorhead on top in the second period. And then look at that. Dallas View gets to the net. Physical play there. He ties the game up at 1, but just a little bit later, Aaron Ryerson, he puts that one top shelf. Spuds retake their lead at 2-1. Into the third we go. Battle out front, loose puck. Who's going to find it? And it was Mason Sundbaum for the Hermantown Hawks to tie this game at 2. This is the final 10 seconds of regulation. Will Esterbrooks from the wall. He finds the back of the net, and a big goal there. Hermantown gets the game winner with 10 seconds remaining and wins 3-2.
Chaska Chanhassen, always a fun rivalry when these two teams meet. Check out Braden Willis all the way through in a beautiful finish on the wrist shot. Makes it 1-0 in favor of the Storm. Just 3:49 remaining in the first. And now the second period. Chaska the other way, and a good finish by Ty Broughton to tie the game. That made things interesting here about midway through this hockey game, but then Chanhassen would start to take control in the wrist shot here. Good shot from Ben Curtis, gets through, makes it 2-1 in favor of the Storm as they would take that advantage into the third period. Off the faceoff, and look at the hustle the other way. Eulenkamp was going to go all the way down in a beautiful finish, beating the goaltender. Eulenkamp makes it 3-1. Check out the shots on goal there in the top left. 28-4 at that point. Chanhassen dominates 15 in a row for the Storm. We're going to step aside. We're through with the highlights. We'll come right back with the St. Cloud State Player Spotlight.
They say good things come to those who wait. But greatness, that's a different beast. It doesn't come when it's called. It won't wander up to those who do nothing. You have to bait it with the sweat you leave on the ice. You gotta push through the pain. Smile through every ache. and suffer every shift. You gotta chase it. All in the name of the game you love. Because greatness comes to those who take it.
Behind every world-class athlete, there's a team who takes extra care to support them. At Affinity Plus, we take extra care with all your banking goals, from checking accounts to credit cards. Our biggest victory? Helping you win in the ways that matter most. Affinity Plus.
Welcome back to Inside the Bubble. For this week's SCSU Player Spotlight, we had a chance to head up to the Warroad Gardens Arena to chat with the Warroad Lady Warriors girls top line of Talia Hendrickson, Riley Bartz, and Kate Johnson. Currently, that trio ranks first, second, and third in the state in points scored. So we had to go up and find out what makes that top line so electric.
Well, they're very talented kids that, they've worked really hard. They've worked really hard when no one's looking. They've put a lot of time in, all three of them. And to go along with some God-given talent, you're seeing the results of those things.
We got a lot of chemistry, and it's easy because we just know where each other are on the ice without having to say anything. Communication's key, but I feel like we kind of just do it with our eyes.
Yeah, they don't take days off, and year-round they don't take days off. All three of them, and Talia's. They all have unique skills, but in the end, it's they've all got excellent work ethics. They're unreal students. They shoot the puck well. They share the puck well. They see the ice. They're really good teammates. I don't maybe have the vocabulary to say what I think of all three of them. They're pretty amazing kids.
I kind of just throw the puck and it hits a stick, but it's a little bit lucky sometimes.
They use each other. They've embraced the fact that they want to play together, and it's I tell you, it's pretty fun to watch when they crank it up.
I think it's really exciting just knowing that we were both talking to them at the same time, and then when we both finally decided that we wanted to play there, because we want to play together, but we wanted to come to the decisions by ourselves. It was super exciting to know that we're gonna be Linies again. Yeah, I think it'll be really fun, and my sister Gino's there too, so we get to join her, and then we can just continue our chemistry there and show what we can do in the collegiate level.
I felt like I could come in and be myself. It's not just me, it's my whole team, my line mates. Kate and Talia, they made it so easy to come in. Super easy, the teammates, coaches, even the community just coming in. They made it super easy to come in and have fun right away.
Time to take a look at our Care 11 top 11s for the week. We will start with the boys Class A, where the top four stays the same. Past that, though, there is a lot of movement. East Grand Forks with the win over Roseau is back up to 5. Northfield down a couple spots. I see a lot of arrows on there, Matt. I see a couple of new stickers as well. Why don't you take us through, especially 5 through 11?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned 1 through 4 stays the same. I think pretty clearly those are the top 4 teams in Class A. East Grand Forks had a very nice week. They beat Roseau in overtime. They're looking stronger and stronger, in my opinion, every game. Detroit Lake staying the same. Northfield lost, so they moved down. Rockridge at number 8. I know last week they were kind of like the first team out of the rankings, but Hibbing Chisholm, they move up as well after debuting last week. Two Rivers back in. Good to see them back in. They've been playing well lately. New Ulm also lost a game, so they do move down. But overall, we're starting to get a little bit more of a feel for these Class A teams. I know the committee was up late last night trying to figure out where everybody fits in the picture here. But overall, I think we've got kind of the 4 and then some separation. But still, don't sleep on East Grand Forks and really any of these teams in the top 11.
All right, we'll take a look at the AA rankings now. And I know I'm very curious how these will shake out after some results this week. Chanhassen with 15 in a row. They'll remain at number 1. Minnetonka had a big week. They're up to 2. Wayzata took the Warroad Roseau trip this weekend, came away with 1 loss and 1 tie. They fall in at 4. Other than that, though, actually not a lot of movement. Champlin Park's back in the rankings at 11. I know they had an interesting week. Matt, what do you see here?
Yeah, Chanhassen, no surprise to see them stay at number 1. Obviously, you mentioned 15 in a row. Tonka with that big win over Edina, they go up thanks in part to Wayzata faltering maybe just a little. You mentioned they had the loss against Warroad and then the tie against Roseau. Tough stretch of games for them. Edina did lose, but they do stay at number 5. Cretan took care of business. They stay at 6. Rogers as well. Benilde also lost a game in there as well. But Andover at 9, White Bear at 10, and Champlin Park, huge statement win for the Rebels against Maple Grove in overtime. Again, they have a tough schedule coming up in the Northwest Suburban, so it's going to be interesting to see. One team I'm a little surprised not to see is St. Thomas Academy. I know they're probably the first team out, I would say. But if they can take care of business, I think they'll be back in the rankings here pretty soon.
And a big week for Chanhassen. They'll go on the road against number 10 White Bear Lake and then number 8 Benilde St. Margaret's. Probably their toughest week the rest of the way.
Yeah, for sure. Going to be interesting how they adapt to those two teams. But again, a lot of people have saying, well, they've got a weak schedule. We're going to find out how they play against some of these other top 11 teams. We'll go to the girls' Class A rankings now as we'll take a look here on your screen. No surprise to see the Warroad Warriors at number 1, but Proctor Hermantown moves up to number 2, Brandon, after their big win over Edina. Holy Angels, through no fault of their own, falls to number 3. The rest of the top 11, relatively the same, except Fergus Falls is up, Mankato East down, and Laverne, they're in after a big win over Dodge County.
Yeah, you mentioned Proctor Hermantown defeating Gentry. Again, they did it in the single A title game back in 2021, and they got another 3-2 overtime win over them this week to ascend up to number 2. AHA holding steady. They're holding serve and getting results they should be getting. Simley had a big win as well over Mount West Tonka Southwest Christian on Saturday. So that part of the ranking stays the same. And then, as you said, I mean, we mentioned Fergus Falls a couple times. They now have 17 wins up on the board. That's second most on here. Well, actually tied with Simley and South St. Paul, but really good season for the Otters. And then Laverne returns with the head-to-head win over Dodge County.
We move on to girls Class 2A now, and we have a new number 1 this week as Minnetonka returns to that top spot. Hill Murray goes up to number 2. They've been on a roll lately. Gentry Academy goes down to 3 after their loss to Proctor Hermantown. Andover up to 4. Edina's down. Then 6 through 10 all stays the same. Holy Family leading the pack there. And then Stillwater, they have been playing very well in the Suburban East, undefeated in conference play, Brandon. And so overall some changes. Hill Murray, though, maybe the surprise at number 2. They've been playing red hot right now.
Yeah, they sure have. I mean, they got the win over Andover when they didn't even have Ella Housey, arguably their best player. And certainly with the loss by Edina to Blake, they fall a couple spots. The Pioneers got a big win over Holy Family. So they deserve number 2 at this point in the season. Minnetonka back to 1 with the Gentry loss. And then special eye on Section 4, number 2 Hill Murray, number 3 Gentry, and number 11 Stillwater. That's going to be an absolute gauntlet. And we're getting close to section playoff time. Most of these teams only 5 to 7 games remaining in their regular season. It's starting to get close to that time of year.
Time now for a special feature piece here on Inside the Bubble. Of course, myself and Brandon were able to make the trip up to Warroad last weekend for the Warroad Hermantown game. And while we were up there, we got to participate in the Riverbend Skate Path, which is a multi-mile long stretch along the Warroad River. We were very generous enough to have the company of Craig Kennedy, one of the managers of the skate path. He took us around and gave us a great tour of the skate path and what it means to the community. You may remember Boyd Hoopert of our very own Care 11 here was kind enough to do a story on the skate path a couple years ago. Well, now in year number 3, it is certainly thriving. Let's go up to Warroad and learn more about the skate path.
Just obviously COVID and rink was closed. Wasn't much to do. All of our kids, all of our neighbor kids all play hockey and skate. So I had a rink where we had just come down there. I had a big rink there, and my neighbor had a rink out here. So my daughter one evening, we were sitting around the bonfire and said, we should plow so we could skate from rink to rink.
Yeah.
We're like, okay. So next morning, me and the neighbor buddy, we jumped on four-wheelers then. We didn't have the bigger equipment. And we plowed a path from his rink to my rink, which is about 3/4 of a mile. Just did that day. Kids started skating and we're like, oh, that's pretty cool. So we thought, well, let's go a little further. So we headed down to another friend's of ours, which had a rink at the time. Got to there, so we added another half mile or so, and then we figured, well, we should go up to the docks, which is a big rink, and they rent skates and all that, connect it all. So we did that year. And now we started just a small path because we thought it would be just us using it. Mm-hmm. And it turned into a huge community deal, and so we started making it bigger and wider, and kind of went from there.
We are at the Docks River Rink here in Warroad, and this is kind of a nice area where kids can play. As you can see, we have a couple of things there where kids play, and of course the nets as well, one of the headquarters here of the Riverbend Skate Path.
In the evenings, there's probably 30 to 40 people maybe. You know, weekends obviously more, like all these squirt teams in town, I would guess just about everyone will skate some point this weekend. If you come here this afternoon, that'll be full.
Okay.
There'll be 30, 40 kids out there, adults. A lot of adults skate, way more than I ever anticipated adults would skate.
This right here behind me is one of the few access points that they have here at the Riverbend Skate Path. This is the Lake of the Woods Brewing Company, and of course here on the path, this goes right down where you can go to, of course, the warming house. And I have to say here myself, I'm on my shoes right now, but I have to say the ice quality here is very good as well.
It's a good access point for people, and there's good parking, and then if the kids just want to go skate, the parents can go in and have a beer and a pizza. And
very nice.
So a lot of people get on here.
The Riverbend Skate Path even has a couple of warming houses throughout the path, and as you can see behind me, it's a nice little area as we'll come in here, and as you can see, a nice little place to, if you're lacing up your skates and get ready. There's a couple of these again throughout the skate path, so it's a great idea for the kids and the adults alike to warm up while they're getting their skates on.
Well, my mom said this was a river frozen over. I mean, that's just super cool that this is a river and he's just skating on it. I mean, it's pretty smooth too for just a river.
As you can see behind me, it takes a lot of equipment to make things work on the Riverbend Skate Path, and without that, none of this is possible.
We got a couple rangers that we use when we get plowing. So that we get snow, we use those to plow and everything, and then we got a toolcat, which Ironhide out of Grand Forks donates to us each winter with the broom, which is very important. So after we plow, then we go broom, and you get that nice shiny clean ice, so you can skate it without then you can see the cracks and the rough spots. Makes it a lot easier. But yeah, without this equipment, it wouldn't be possible.
I know you've expanded the skate path in recent years. When you look ahead a little bit, is there any chance this gets expanded even further, you think?
It's all on weather conditions. You know, last year we had it 5 miles, and we kind of did that because that was what the record was 5. So we wanted to see if we could beat it, and we did. We kept it open all year last year, but then this year when it started out with different conditions, we just knew it wasn't the year to try and beat that record or do it again this year. Maybe next year we'll try it again with, especially with Hockey Day in Minnesota.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So
we're hoping that's why this year we kind of been learning, doing a few different things, hoping to have it the best next year for Hockey Day.
Hey, this is fire. This is sick.
I know.
Like, we're skating on a river. Woohoo!
Time now to take a look at our top 5 games of the week here on the MN Hockey TV network. Of course, available with your season pass or for individual purchase. We'll start things out on the girls' side, and we will lead things off here on Monday as North Wright County and Maple Grove will play. I believe that's a makeup game, but certainly going to be a good one. And then a Wright County Conference game between Mount Westonka Southwest Christian, Eastridge Stillwater in the Suburban East. That'll be a good one. Edina Benilde St. Margaret's. And then Maple Grove and Minnetonka, 2 of the best in Class AA. Brandon, to close out the week.
Yeah, definitely some good matchups on here. Mount Westonka at Holy Family. That's a rematch of a game that went to overtime earlier this year. So we know those teams are competitive. Stillwater has been perfect through the Suburban East so far. They've already wrapped up the conference crown. They'll look to keep that perfect record alive against Eastridge. And then Edina at BSM. Notice the 5 p.m. start time. That's part of a varsity doubleheader coming up on Thursday night that will combo with a boys game that we'll see here in just a moment. But that should be a good one. Section 6AA top seed is definitely still up for grabs, so both teams will have to bring their best.
And now the top 5 upcoming Boys Network games of the week. We'll start things out on the 25th, which, of course, is Wednesday, 7 p.m., Hill Murray and Matamidi, a couple Metro East rivals. Wayzata Edina, always intriguing when those two teams meet. They're both having great season. That will be on Thursday, along with a couple other good ones. IMAC conference play between Breck, Providence Academy, and then, as you alluded to, Brandon, Chanhassen at Benilde St. Margaret's, and then East Grand Forks at Greenway. That is the Green Wave of East Grand Forks taking on Greenway. Hope you don't get too confused watching that one.
Well, I'm just glad you got through that without getting tongue-tied there. But, yeah, some good conference matchups in there. Wayzata Edina meet for the first time. Chanhassen and Benilde as well with their first of 2 meetings. And, yeah, definitely some big games there. Particular eye on Blake at Providence. Those are 2 free-scoring teams, so could get a lot of goals there.
Well, after a 9-day break, Hockey Night in Minnesota will return this Thursday. We're going to head to the South Suburban Conference for a girls matchup between the Apple Valley Eagles and the Lakeville South Cougars. That, of course, is free to watch right here on KARE 11 Plus, along with the MN Hockey YouTube channel. And, Brandon, this is a good competitive matchup here. Lakeville South only has 2 losses on the year, and, of course, Apple Valley is a very solid team as well. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Apple Valley and the Moran sisters of Marie and Michaela, I highly encourage you to tune into this game. They are phenomenal to watch. And then Lakeville South, as you mentioned, kind of methodically plotting their way along and staying in the top 10. They've won 10 games in a row to get to 17-2.
We will go now to the next Hockey Night in Minnesota, which conveniently is the next day after on Friday night. A intriguing non-conference matchup between the Grand Rapids Thunderhawks and the Maple Grove Crimson. And Brandon, Grand Rapids started the season very strong, faltered a little bit here down the stretch, but you can never count out the Thunderhawks.
Yeah, and the Thunderhawks make the trip down to the cities for the second straight weekend. Maple Grove will be looking to bounce back after a loss this week, looking to have a good week. What better place to be on a Friday night than tune into one of our Hockey Night in Minnesota games? Don't forget to check out our Overtime podcast. This week, we caught up with Greg Zanin from the Stillwater boys team, Laura Nelson from Legacy.Hockey, and covered a bevy of other high school hockey topics. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and 11 other podcast hosting networks. Also, check us out on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at MN Hockey TV.
Well, before we leave you this evening on Inside the Bubble, we wanted to show you a nice piece that was produced by our very own Sully Weiss on a special event that recently took place in Brainerd, Minnesota. That, of course, would be the Jake Hopajoki Memorial Cup in honor of Jake Hopajoki. The tournament, the 3-on-3 hockey tournament, raises money for suicide prevention and awareness and also creates a scholarship to give to students at Brainerd High School. The tournament has grown into something special, and to our knowledge, is the largest backyard hockey tournament in the world. Let's take a look at this piece on the Jake Hopajoki Memorial Cup in Brainerd.
But if you close your eyes, Does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? But if you close your eyes, we were caught up and lost in all of our vices. In your poses, the dust settled around us, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? But if you close your eyes,